Should have waited until I heard the response.
Yeah, we will.
We're waiting on one document, so we'll just need another minute or two here. All right, welcome. It is 5:03 on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. This is a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape Girardeau. Welcome to you all. Thank you all for being here. As always, we will begin with our invocation tonight by the Reverend Alan Gernon of First Presbyterian and Westminster Presbyterian Church here in Cape Girardeau. Follow that with our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all please rise and join us.
Let us pray. Creator God, we are so grateful for this beautiful day that you have given us. And we are grateful for the opportunity to gather all for the good of our fair city. We ask your blessing upon the staff, upon the city council, and upon all the citizens who are gathered here this evening. Be present with us. Lord, speak through every word that is spoken. Help us to be respectful for one another And we pray that you would bless our words and our actions, that all may be for the good of Cape Girardeau and all of its people. Amen.
All right, thank you. We'll begin tonight with one presentation. Let me bring that on over. All right, well, it is local government week, and I think it's a testimony to all of you all here that you're here tonight at a city council meeting. Thank you. Obviously, the public is involved in local government, and we appreciate your participating for whatever reason you're here tonight. Certainly, our local government includes a lot of staff members, a lot of administrators, and 7 council members, myself included. As we all know, no explanation necessary, but certainly at the local level, a lot of necessary things wouldn't happen without 7 people volunteering, a lot of other advisory board members volunteering time and effort and energy, and then of course our staff and administrators we're blessed here in Cape Girardeau to have a very professional group of people working on behalf of our local community. So the proclamation, I'm happy to read, states this: whereas local government is the backbone of our democracy, the bedrock of our political system, and a testimony to liberty, freedom, and the right to elected self-government. And whereas citizens of Missouri rely upon local governments to deliver essential community services such as clean water, police and fire protection. And whereas the continued success of our local governments in meeting the needs of our citizens is a key element in maintaining the overall quality of life in Missouri. And whereas the rich tapestry of local governments in Missouri is represented by thousands of hardworking citizen officials, many of whom serve without compensation. And whereas through education and awareness, the importance of local governments can be communicated to citizens, state legislators, and the news media. And whereas recognition of local government's accomplishments will give Cape Girardeau residents a better understanding of how essential local services are provided. And whereas establishing an annual local government week would focus attention on the need for strong, independent, and active local government in this state, and recognize the valuable contributions made by residents serving their communities in public office. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Stacy Kinder, Mayor of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, do hereby proclaim June 2nd through the 5th, 2025 as Local Government Week. Thank you to my fellow council members for your service and your volunteering to do this essential job. Appreciate it. All right, council, any communications or reports? Ms. Randall.
Go right
Ms.
ahead,
Randall?
young lady.
Ladies first. I want to share what's taking place in Ward 2. Ms. Ramona Bailey shared this with me, which I will be present, asking everyone to come out to wear orange at the Peace Park on the corner of Broadway and Spanish Street as a community gathering to honor victims and survivors as we work together to end gun violence, which is Friday, June 6th at noon. And so if everyone, it's all about peace at the end of the day and just supporting those that need us. So thank you, Ramona, for sharing.
I'd like to recognize all the Special Olympic athletes that went to Kirkland to participate in the summer program. We had about 300 here for spring, 30 qualified to go to Kirkland for the summer games, if you will. And just want to recognize the Park and Recs Department, the organizations, all the volunteers that make that happen, and of course, all of the special individuals, organizations, businesses, and the that go to generously support that. Without that, that couldn't happen. I also want to thank and acknowledge Chief Glick, our head cop. He has, in short order of assuming that role, he has created an impressive cultural shift that has led to a 95% manning with 6 others identified to go to the academy in the near future. Now, these new recruits obviously have to go through training. You may not see them on the street that soon, but he has to make sure that they're trained and knowledgeable of what to do, how to protect us, and to serve. His management has also led to major decreases in the costs. He's fiscally managing his budget, seeing major reductions in overtime. So that means that's just smart business, smart management. But also, when I think of overtime, I think of people that are working when they shouldn't be working. All right. And the last thing you want is those out on the street serving us to be tired. So not only is it fiscal management, it's personnel management. And I applaud you, Chief, for what you're accomplishing in the short order that you've been doing that. I don't know if you all read in the paper, City of Cape was recognized and is ranked number 4 and as best cities for new college graduates. It's interesting, if you read that article, what it takes, what they look at, what this Checker company, which is a human resources technology company, that's their national report, and they look at affordability, job prospects, and a vibrant community. Now, vibrant community, you got to read into that a little bit. That's quality of life and social metrics is what makes that up. And so, I mean, we were number 4 nationally. That's pretty dadgum good. Just wanted to acknowledge that and what it takes. You know, it is, what is it? This is our local government week. A lot of government goes in to making and creating that vibrant, welcome community that we're so fortunate to live in already, to live, work, and raise our children in. So it's a team, it's a major team effort. And it's, anyway, it's all hands, a team effort. So thank you for everything that everybody does.
Thanks.
I'd just like to add on, I was going to mention what Dave mentioned, except that he said we're number 4, but we're also in that same ranking, number 2 in cities with populations under 200,000. So I'll go with the number 2.
There you go. All right.
And I'll add one more, being the new guy, years ago, Mayor, about 8 years ago, there was a large survey done, and the biggest demographic of people that the city of Cape were losing were college-age students. So I look forward to seeing that trend reverse itself and keep a lot of great college grads here in the city of Cape.
I'll add just one little tidbit. The number 1 city in that listing is Iowa City, Iowa. Coincidentally, my husband and I lived there before moving here, and we chose to move here from Iowa City. So I don't know how much that says, but we think we're number 1. But that was exciting. That was exciting news to read that. Just telling everybody what we here know, and that is that we're a great community. I'm sorry, Nate, did you have anything? Okay. I wanted to just add one more quick note. We've had a lot of athletes here in the area finishing their seasons. There have been a lot of great district champions and even some state winners happening in our region. I just, without going into names, I just wanted to congratulate all of our area athletes for working so hard and bringing a lot of recognition not only to themselves, but to our schools here in our area. And kudos also to the SEMO men's and women's track teams who both won the OVC championship recently. So great job all around in jobs that are take a lot of time and a lot of effort. So good job there. All right, moving on. We have several items for discussion. Is there anyone here who wishes to appear as an advisory board applicant? If so, please, yes, we've got several. We'll begin, yes, Mr. Hudson? Mr. Hudson? There we go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Hudson, and I'm here for the Special Special Business District Advisory Board. I've been on it quite a while, and just let you know that I'd be more than happy to stay around. Just all you gotta do is ask. But I'd be more than happy to do it. Is that sufficient for you guys?
That is sufficient. Thank you
Okay.
for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay. Somebody, yes, oh,
Good evening. Just want to introduce myself. I'm Jamie Phillips. I am trying to get on the advisory board for the library board. I'm currently a project and event manager at Rest Media, and I've been in Cape for about 23 years. So
okay,
just want to introduce myself. Thank you for the opportunity.
great, thank you. That is fine. They usually are.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the mayor and the council members for allowing me the opportunity to introduce myself in hopes of being appointed to the Convention and Visitors Bureau Advisory Board. My name is Dwayne Shaw, and I'm the owner of Celebrations Restaurant, Ebb and Flow Fermentations, Celebrations Downtown Events, and Goose and Gander, all located in downtown Cape Girardeau. I'm originally from St. Genevieve, Missouri, but relocated to Cape Girardeau in September of 1998. Growing up in a historic tourism-driven town gave me a unique perspective on the inner workings of hospitality. That has undoubtedly shaped my career. I'd love to use this lifetime of experience to help expand and enhance our current tourism market. Working on the eastern side of the city comes with its own set of challenges, and I believe that only someone who has spent the last 25 years walking these streets, chatting with business owners and employees, and connecting with our downtown residents can fully understand them. In addition to my geographic experience, I've had the honor of being featured in publications such as the New York Times, Forbes Magazine, Chicago Tribune, Punch Drink, Feast, and more for my brewing and culinary achievements. When planning my businesses, I've always considered an 800-mile diameter as our potential market. That is because we have a brilliant downtown. It's rich in history, our riverfront scenery, restaurants, music, and art, and it's entirely walkable for visitors, especially those from metropolitan areas accustomed to covering several blocks on foot. I personally speak with current, past, and future out-of-town guests across my multiple locations, and these topics come up in conversation every single day. All of this is to say, at the moment, we don't have a single downtown business owner or restaurateur on that advisory board. And when I say that advisory board, it's the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I truly believe that this is a missed opportunity to not simply get visitors, but to showcase our greatest asset, ourselves. There are so many towns that would kill to have what we have in front of us every day, and we often forget about the remarkable individuals, businesses, and resources that we have at our hands waiting for their turn to help. We must keep an ear on the ground when it comes to tourism in all of its broad and varied forms. I respectfully ask each council member to carefully consider the direction of the Convention and Visitors Bureau Advisory Board and to consider me for one of the available seats. We're holding an astounding asset in our hands, and I'd love to help shine this diamond. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Cindy Mayer, and I have applied for the library board. And I would like to also thank the council for this opportunity to introduce myself. My husband and I moved to Cape 31 years ago. We met sophomore year at SEMO, 1979, over the Deermont Cafeteria salad bar. We married shortly after graduation and went in the military. When we were in the military, we were always thinking of where are we going to retire? Where are we going to settle down? And Cape Girardeau was always on the list. A lot of other cities came and went, but Cape was always on the list. So we've enjoyed making Cape our home. We both signed up for library cards right after we moved here, and we have taken advantage of many programs. Starting off with summer reading programs. Our son was only 3 at the time. And as he's grown up, you have a wonderful young adult literature section. I have attended yoga classes at the library. We got our passports at the library. I've attended many community meetings there, and we especially love having access to Libby and Missouri Evergreen. And we also love the DVD collection. We're probably in the minority there, but we still have a DVD player. The staff is top-notch. You can tell because of all their hard work, they're very knowledgeable. You can see how much the library has grown, or we can, since we've been here, how much it has grown and improved. The staff is extremely helpful and friendly. If you have an occasional overdue book, they do not treat you like a criminal. They're very nice. And they really make the library a welcoming place. So as you can see, I love our library, but I'm not the only one. It's evident how great our library is because last year they received the Missouri Library Association's Library of the Year. We attended that reception. I am a retired high school English teacher, and if I can help in any way, the library, I'd be happy to sit on the board. So thank you for your time, and just to tell you a little bit about myself. Have a nice night.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
I was tripping all my way up here. You'll be proud of me, those of you who know me. I have notes this time. Thank you for letting me speak with you this evening. My name is Christy Mershon, and I'm here tonight because I'd like to serve on the Convention and Visitors Bureau Board. I've served on a lot of advisory boards and boards over the years, including the Historical Association of Greater Cape, the Glenn House, where I'm still the board president, the Red House, the Discovery Playhouse, and I've been a longtime volunteer with Old Town Cape. But this particular board is personal to me. Because for me, tourism isn't just about numbers and hotel beds. It's about the story that we tell and the way we make people feel when they visit. I've spent years on both sides of the travel experience world. I'm a frequent traveler myself, and some of you have traveled with me. I've been a tour leader, a planner, a guide, and locally, I've created walking tours, porch concerts, house museum events, ghost story nights, and I've had the privilege, and it really has been a privilege, of working with thousands of visitors to our community, not an exaggeration, over the last 20 years. Through the university, I've led people all over the country and very often have been on the bus reaching out to convention and visitors bureaus in other places, and I'm the customer getting to see it from that side. As a paid tour guide and consultant, I've helped benchmark cities that we use, design tourism strategies and public events. But what I really want to do now is do that work right here for this place that I call home. Cape is so rich with potential. It's my favorite place to talk about, and we're already seeing so many really cool things. You guys talked about it. The hotel bed occupancy is through the roof. Youth sports is popping off. But in my experience, because I also work in the small business development world and in economic development, and just walking around downtown, we have some challenges, and you guys know that. A lot of those guests never make it from the 55 corridor into the historic heart of our city. They're staying by the interstate. That's why I don't do notes. They're eating at chains, and they're missing everything that to me is the coolest about Cape. They're missing the murals, they're missing the mom and pop shops, they're missing the cool restaurants like Celebrations, and they're missing the Riverwalk and the stories and the soul of this place that we love. If Cape Girardeau were a person, I think downtown is her heart. And I want to make sure that she keeps beating and beating loudly all the way into the future. I think I can help. I'm obviously really energetic. Some of you know that. And I want to move us toward new horizons. I've written grants, I've run events, I've cleaned bathrooms, including those in our downtown. I've picked up needles out of parks here when we have visitors coming. I've welcomed riverboat guests, a lot of times in a costume, all in the name of getting people to love this place. I believe in collaboration. I believe in smart marketing. I know Dick does too. And I believe in storytelling that sparks curiosity and pride. I know how to build bridges, and I think Cape's already special. I just want to make sure the world knows it. So if you're interested, I would love to serve.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? All right, thank you all very much. We will next have the consent agenda review. Dr. Haskin.
Thank you, Mayor. Boy, we had a lot of good applicants tonight to review, and it's good that they all showed up to make their voices heard. That's for sure. So, again, I'll just start with number 6, and council, we only are adding one, and basically it's a motion to accept the 5 street lights along Silvertone Trail here in Cape. Mayor, that is all we have on review.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will now move into regular session. This is the call to order, and we will have the roll call vote. Ms. Conrad?
Mr. Bliss?
Here.
Mr. Cantrell?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Kinder?
Here?
Mr. Preston? Absent. Ms. Randall?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
All right, thank you. Council, we have an agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor then of the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Agenda carries. We have several public hearings tonight. First, I will open the public hearing on the annual operating budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. Is there anyone who wishes to appear for this public hearing? No? All right. Seeing none, then I will close that public hearing. Next, we have a public hearing to consider a request to rezone property located at 524 North Silver Springs Road from R4 Medium Density Multifamily Residential District to NC Neighborhood Commercial District. Is there anyone who wishes to appear for this public hearing? Yes. Yes, please.
I'm Roger Tolliver. I live at 590 Wynwood Lake Drive in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Been in this community 25 years. Previously in the banking business for 40 years, and I've served as mayor and on the planning zoning committee and city council in Sykeston, Missouri for 6 years. Also served, Governor John Ashcroft appointed me to the State Board of Education in 1987, served several years in that capacity. I've served on several different boards and committees over my banking career. So I have a little bit of an idea about what you are involved with here. I was not able to attend the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting because I had a family medical situation, which is still ongoing. But I didn't really think it'd make any difference because the first one I attended, there was no real curiosity or interest in why this was being rezoned. There were no questions, and I figured that missing the last one wouldn't be a real loss to me, and I had a more important task at home to take care of. Excuse me. The reason I'm against the rezoning, of course, is that I feel that the integrity of the subdivision should be maintained. You know, it was laid out and platted and subdivided as to be for duplexes and triplexes. And I really think there's a natural boundary across Silver Springs Road for C2, and to the south for C2, there's a lot, a couple lots there to the south of Shamrock, that's subdivision, and those are already zone Z2. There's a ditch between the Shamrock property and those two properties are zones C2. But I've owned property there. I bought 29, 81, 83, I guess it was, in 2012. And acquired 29, 63, 65 back in the right part of the cul-de-sac back in 2015. And that was already laid out. I already knew that Mr. Sanchez's property across from the road on North Silver Springs Road was already there, already developed. I knew what was to the south of our property and knew probably what was going to go into the north, which apartments have been built there to the north. It all makes sense to me. It was a multifamily, and it seemed that the mix was fine. But I think that building and rezoning what he wants to rezone there certainly is going to affect my property. Just to the east of that property that he's wanting to rezone is going to violate the integrity of the property there. I think I'm looking out not just for ourselves as investors. As I said last time I was before this council, Mr. Johnson, you were not on the council yet. We consider our tenants, I do at least, when thinking about this. You know, we're not slumlords. We try to take care of our property. We do not want our people living in properties that we find undesirable. We want them to have good, adequate housing that are nice. And so, I just think that rezoning this, we don't know what he's going to put in there yet. All we have, again, is just a basic drawing. I understand that he's decided just to put in storefronts, probably 4, but we don't know what they're going to be. Is it going to be a daycare, a pet care, a pet shop? Is it going to sell alcohol, vaping, cigarettes, cannabis shop? And I understand there have to be other licensing for that, but we don't know what he's going to put in there. And I think it'll be increased traffic for that area, of which we already have enough as it is.
Mr. Tolliver, that was the 3-minute.
Pardon me?
That was the 3-minute bell. I should have indicated that everyone has 3 minutes to speak, and that notice did just go off. So if you have a closing statement, you may make
My
that.
time's up.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
But if you'd
sure,
like to
I understand.
wrap it up.
Well, as anyway, I just am against that because of those reasons. I think, again, I know you have the power to do it, but I'm asking you again to do the right thing. Nobody wants a prison in their backyard. Nobody wants a nuclear plant in their backyard. And so always, a lot of times we think it's good for thee, but not for me. And I just hope that you'll consider that in my request not to rezone it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Tolliver.
Who else would like to? Yes, sir. Oh, yes. Sorry. Thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got.
Helping him.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Hi.
Mi nombre es Armando Sánchez.
So my name is Armando Sanchez.
Okay. And sir, if you could please speak into the microphone also,
okay.
that would be very helpful. Okay, thank you.
Dile que mis intenciones es querer trabajar en los terrenos que tengo.
He said his intention is to work in that property.
Dile que tengo 23 años viviendo en esa área
He said he's got 23 years living in that area.
y según yo entiendo que el motivo por el cual vecinos no quieren que porque hay crimen, se inunda, yo para mí no he visto cosas malas que puedan perjudicar.
He said the reason neighbors maybe don't want them to do so because the crime, flooding, but all his intentions are to create jobs. All the time he been here, all he does work and try to move forward with business. He wouldn't do anything to do anybody wrong.
Dile que mis intenciones es abrir negocios que le sirvan a la sociedad, no que le perjudiquen.
My intentions is to open up business to help society, not to work against them.
Dile que cuando yo ando limpiando la yarda, yo no sé qué pasa, que una persona sale de los duples que están allí, me saca videos.
When I'm cleaning my yard right there, some people from that area gets out of their house, or they live there and start taking videos.
El domingo andaba yo limpiando la yarda y se para mero enfrente de donde yo estaba, como provocándome en algo que...
I was there Sunday cleaning the yard, and this person just stepped right in front of me and tried to taking video out of me. I don't know what the intentions are for that.
Dile que yo no traigo malas intenciones, ni soy hombre de problemas. Hay muchas personas que me conocen aquí en este pueblo y nunca he andado yo en problemas, que al querer yo trabajar allí no es con malas intenciones.
He said, I've been living in this area for a long while, and it's a lot of people who knows me, and all those years I've never been in any kind of trouble, and my intention is not to cause any trouble. My intention is to just open up my business and keep doing what I do. I like to create, jobs and do my buildings right there, but I don't try to do anybody wrong.
No porque yo sea hispano, personas me quieran cerrar las puertas donde yo tengo buenas intenciones de trabajo.
He say no because I'm minority. Some people try maybe close doors where I'm trying to just create jobs, try to do business. Like I know him for a long while and it's all he does, so that's what he say.
Aquí vienen mi esposa, mi hijo, otra persona que es amiga mía durante mucho tiempo. Ellos les pueden decir cómo somos nosotros también.
Ya sonó la campana.
Sí.
I also got some friends with me, my son, my wife. They know me. You can ask them and they can tell you about me. All these times I my intention is just to move forward, try to do my business, not to create any problem or try to do anybody or their neighbors, trying to
Thank you.
bad intentions.
Okay, thank you. And that was the 3-minute bell as well.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, is there someone else who wishes to speak? Okay, sorry, we got several. All right, yes.
I'm LaDonna Dalton, and I work for Century 21 Ashland Realty here in Cape. I've known the Sanchez for probably 20 years. I have listed and sold property for them. I sold them a nice building in Advance. They've put in a respectable restaurant. I've eaten there many times. There's never been any disruptions or anything that would cause any problems to the public. I've been to their home. They're very gracious. They own a wonderful, probably $300,000-$400,000 home on Glenview here in Cape. They own some apartment buildings. They did own another home in Cape that I sold for them. They're working on another home to put on the market. They're good people. They're United States citizens, and I've never known them to cause any trouble to anybody. So I've visited the 4 lots that he owns, and I think what he would like to put is a cake shop, maybe a Mexican store where people can buy Mexican food and supplies to make your own at home, and maybe a duplex and whatever. So I think they're good, respectable United States citizens, and I thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. I know there's several more. Yes, ma'am. No.
Well, I don't see why is people complaining about my dead building.
I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself, please?
Well, I'm his son, Eucario Sanchez.
Okay.
And I don't see why. I mean, there's a gas station right in front of those lots, and then a laundry place, and then, I mean, even those apartments are businesses. So, I mean, he's not trying to do nothing wrong. It's not like he's gonna be selling guns or drugs or nothing like that, He's just trying to do business, and I mean, he raised me good, like a hardworking man. I got my company too, and that's what we do, Even though we're Mexicans, we're not here to bring any crime or nothing, So I don't see why people don't just let them build some buildings in there, It's not like we're gonna bring crime or nothing. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Yep. Yes.
Hello, my name is Leslie Simmons, and I live in and own the duplex at 2980 Shamrock Circle. And on these maps, it looks like there's a lot of commercial property there, but there's not. The C2 to the left side of Silver Springs, all of that is the top one is all residential, and then there's the Mexican restaurant and the 24-hour laundry on the left side there. these two large lots that are south of Shamrock Circle are agricultural. They're zoned agricultural at the county, and they just mow it and farm it. That C2 that's inside Shamrock Court, from what I understand, it was made that way it was just an entry to the R4 on the north side to build the Mako properties, that senior housing. So all that red on the top is senior housing. Most of this C2 on the west side of North Silver Springs Road is apartments. And also south of Themis here on the, let me think, on the east and west side is all apartments except for the one at the intersection is Quick and Save, and they have very high crime, and they're open all the time. The noise is nonstop. Delivery trucks, people screaming, gunshot. And then the 24-hour laundromat, fully lit up 24/7. I don't know what goes on there. Then the Mexican restaurant right now has, they're like, have a chopping wood that's out by the street. It looks horrible. It's nothing against Mr. Sanchez, but he also owns property. I don't know if you had an opportunity to go by his other property that he owns, but a lot of it needs maintenance. He owns a lot of property on Themis and in Boxwood. And, but I sent you a couple of letters about the water problems, the city truck. There's a big, I don't know all the technical terms, but there's a giant truck that comes out there monthly to hose out the water. And I also have a question, like, how does this process work? Because Mr. Sanchez, you all voted 5-2 on April 7th to not change this zoning, and he filed another application on April 14th.
Yeah.
And what is the process? Like, how does this transpire? How does this?
Well, the process, as I've explained to you before, and I know other city staff has as well, the process is exactly what you have seen happen. Anyone can submit a zoning change request to the Planning and Zoning Commission. It goes there, and then it comes to the city council. And there is no rule that says that you can only do that once.
I know, but
And
this,
so-
the first application was 2 properties.
Correct, this one has changed, and
And
so
it's
he's
one
come
property.
forward again, and with a
Same
slightly
concept.
different, yes, and he and anyone else is allowed to do that.
Okay.
So, thank you.
So this
Thank
could
you.
be a monthly thing for me.
Is there anyone else who wishes to, yes, sir?
Hello, my name is Rhett Simmons. I live at 2981 Shamrock Circle, which is owned by Mr. Tolliver. This one which is I'm sure you can find it on the map, but so the property that's looking to be rezoned would be directly next to the apartment that I live in, or the duplex that I live in. And so every morning, instead of waking up and looking at the grass out of your backyard, imagine there's dumpsters in the back of businesses, right? So we have to take into effect how that's going to affect everyone else that's living in that neighborhood. Last time the city council voted 5-2, which I thought was very respectable, especially based off the reasonings that they voted that way. And I think that the hardest thing, I get that it's legal. We've been through all of this before. We were just through it like a month ago. But I wish I could afford a $300,000 to $400,000 house. But if we are going to grant this in this situation, I just asked if there's I guess I need to look into or see what could be done for if we're going to cater to one citizen and it affects everyone else on the circle in a negative way, how does the city cater to those people that maybe can't afford to buy out of their lease or put all their investments into those properties and they can't get out of what they need to get out of it to maintain a living? And I personally, as a citizen of the United States, I work with horses, I work with people internationally, and I think that it's really, really sad that it has turned into accusations about race. I just think that we're a lot bigger than that. And I would hope as a city, we're moving forward from that and people's reasonings don't get hinted at or intended to seem as if people want things a certain way because of the color of people's skin. Because as a homosexual man, I would never do that to another person, and I would expect the same respect. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to comment? Yes, sir.
My name is Luis Mendoza. I've known Mr.
I'm sorry,
Sanchez.
could you speak into the, yeah.
I've known Mr. Sanchez for a few years already, and I think what he's trying to do is pretty good for the community around here. I think what he's trying to do is good. Building whatever it is that he's trying to do, it would bring jobs towards people. And he owns apartments like everybody else has been saying. He owns a restaurant, and everybody knows him. That I know of, he's never been in any kind of trouble. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Anyone else wishing to speak at this public hearing? All right, seeing none. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Yeah, you were being a little shy back there. I didn't see you, Mr. Hill.
That happens when you retire. I'm Gary Hill, longtime resident of Cape Girardeau. I'm a warning right now. I'm a little hard hearing. Chief Collector, do you have your whistle? I do. Okay, you may need it. Okay.
I'll let you know that when the bell rings. That's my job. So.
I'm a longtime, as I mentioned, longtime resident of the city of Cape Girardeau, retired from a 30-year career in public education, shop teacher, high school principal, school superintendent. As 14 years of school administration, I can empathize with you. You're between a rock and a hard place in this situation. You inherited a situation that you have to make a decision on, and I know that you'll consider the information and you will make the best decision you can make with the information and whatever else. But tonight I'm speaking as retired city inspector. As 9 years as a building inspector, I interacted with hundreds of tenants, landlords, and property owners. And based on those interactions, I suspect the ones that are concerned about Mr. Sanchez's proposal is the what ifs. What if the zoning reduces the value of my property? What if the rezoning creates more stormwater and flooding problems? What if the rezoning increases traffic and trash? What if the building, commercial building that's built on this rezoned property is not properly managed, supervised, and maintained? What if additional criminal activity moves into the area? One thing I have not heard discussed is the current zoning of this property is R4, multifamily. Without any permissions with city councils, any hearings whatsoever, Mr. Sanchez could choose to build a 4 to 6 unit apartment house on there. I can guarantee you, as a 9 years of a building inspector and inspecting hundreds of rentals, you move 4 to 6 families on one lot. Some of these what ifs will be a reality. Unfortunately, you cannot predict the what ifs, and you're not dealing with the what ifs tonight. You're dealing with the what is. Is this request for rezoning reasonable? Unfortunately, you inherited, to me, I'm gonna call it nonsense. You know, you shouldn't have that many colors on a zoning map in that neighborhood, my opinion. Second question is Mr. Sanchez's proposal a reasonable use of the property in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, seeing none, then I will close this public hearing. Lastly, we have a public hearing that I'll open to consider a request to rezone property located at 215 Northwest End Boulevard from R3 High Density Single Family Residential District to NC Neighborhood Commercial District, and to grant a special use permit for the purposes of constructing, maintaining, and operating an art school and studio on the same property. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this public hearing? All right. Seeing none, I will close this public hearing. Next, we have the consent agenda. Would you read that, Mr. Young?
Bill 2560, an ordinance accepting permanent access easements from various property owners for a road service to service Dalhousie Sewer Lift Station Number 4. Bill 2560, an ordinance accepting permanent access easements from various property owners for a road to service Dalhousie Sewer Lift Station Number 4.
All right, thank you. Council, we have a consent agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor then of the consent agenda as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That agenda carries. We have one item removed from the consent agenda tonight. It is to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation to deny a request to rezone property located at 720 Bertling Street from R1 Single Family Suburban Residential District to R4 Medium Density Multifamily Residential District. Mr. Shrimplin, if you would, please. And I'm just going to say, this is one of those tricky ones with the wording. So if you would, please help us all make sure we understand what our approval means.
All right. So this property is currently the home of Christ Church of the Heartland. So it's a church. Under federal law, churches and similar religious places of worship are not allowed to be zoned out, essentially. They're exempt from zoning regulations with regard to permitted uses. So this property is zoned R1, single-family residential, which again, does not list a church as a permitted use, but it is a use permitted by right under the federal law. The church has reached a point in its evolution history to where they need to downsize, and so they need to sell the property. They approached me and the staff about what their options were. Talked about maybe seeing if the university might be interested. The university as a state entity is also exempt from zoning, so that would have been an option. They could try to find another church that might be interested in it. So it's my understanding they've made an attempt to try to find a potential buyer that would be able to use the property in a way that doesn't require rezoning. So they've not been successful to do that at this point. They did decide to file a rezoning application. Before they did that, they had a meeting at the church. They invited the neighbors. I attended as well. And they just explained the situation, and we talked about different options for zoning. And those that were in attendance, expressed their views on that. Then after that is when the applicant made the decision to go ahead and apply. They're requesting rezoning to R4, medium density multifamily residential, which allows, as you know, multifamily residential. It also allows a commercial daycare and some other options. So certainly there's more flexibility with that particular zoning district in terms of marketing the property than the current R1. Other than the church, you're pretty much limited to single-family dwellings and neighborhood facilities that are related to neighborhood associations and things like that. So R1 is very restrictive, and so they're just looking to get it zoned to a different district, which will give them some more options with regard to marketing the property.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll treat this as if it were a new ordinance and allow public comment to happen, and then we as a council will take it up. So I would ask anyone in the audience if you wish to come forward and state a thought or opinion, concern about about this. Sorry, Mr. Shrimplin, could I ask you to come up and clarify one thing, please? So the Planning and Zoning Commission has discussed this, and they voted to not approve
Correct.
the zoning change.
Yeah, for sake of consistency, all motions are worded in the affirmative. Otherwise, you'd say, oh, well, it was approved 6-0. Well, which one was it? Was a motion to recommend approval or denial? So this way, once you see the vote, you always know that the votes for are always to approve. The votes against are always to disapprove. So in this case, it was a motion to approve, and it was, denied. So I believe there was one abstainer, and the rest of them voted against the motion to approve.
And so this is not an appeal from the owner. This is simply us approving the decision by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
When the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends denial of a rezoning request, the council can set a public hearing and then have a public hearing and vote on it at a later meeting, or the council can accept the recommendation of denial from the commission, in which case it is denied.
Okay. So our affirmative vote would be to uphold the Planning and Zoning Commission's.
Right.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to comment on this issue? No? Okay. Well, then, council, is there a motion to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission's to recommend to deny this request?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, Nate. Discussion, council.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that that was your opportunity to speak about this, if there's anybody here to speak on it. I don't know. Yeah, I saw some people looking back and forth, so I wanted to.
Oh,
make sure.
what,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, was
Yeah.
I?
My name's Jerry Spence, and I live in the neighborhood of the church, and we did appear before the Planning and Zoning Committee, and as far as I know, with the exception of one abstainer, it was universally put down as a request. I'm representing the neighborhood, and this is Sylvan, all of Sylvan, Flint Hill Road, and the street that I live on, which is Scotts Lane. We have been very peaceful and happy neighbors with the church. I've lived there for 20 years, and we did discuss this with pretty much everyone, with the exception of maybe 5 households in the neighborhood, and I have not yet met anyone who would be for more multifamily in our neighborhood. We would be amenable to meeting with the church, and I do plan on speaking with Pastor Strong today about setting up a meeting. But for reasons of safety and also our property values, we all feel that more multifamily being approved in our area would seriously affect us. We have had a lot of trouble in our neighborhood down the road. I'm sure you all have heard about the different criminal activity at the property on Sprigg and Lexington that was formerly known as Legends. I think it's now going by something else. But we know that there has been further multifamily approved in our neighborhood at the corner of Big Bend and Lexington and Big Bend and Sprigg Street. So we do know that there's a possibility that more is threatening to be put in our neighborhood. So we really, we've got a very nice neighborhood with Sylvan. I don't know if you all are familiar with it or not, but there are a lot of mature trees, pride of ownership. We want to keep it that way. We are very concerned about the possibility of that 7-acre tract becoming more apartments because it would, threaten our safety, and, we would like to preserve the integrity of that neighborhood. And we just don't feel that the church's sale is a good reason to affect so many other property owners in a negative way.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Spence.
thank you so much for the opportunity to talk.
Of course. Perhaps I wasn't clear earlier. Is there anyone else in the public, in the audience, who wishes to speak? No. Okay. Well, council, we've got this on the table. Questions concerns from council? Okay, hearing none then. All those in favor of approving the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation to deny our request to rezone the property located at 720 Bertling Street from R1 to R4, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And so therefore, that is, Planning and Zoning recommendation is upheld. We now have new ordinances. Number of them. First, Bill number 2565, an ordinance adopting the annual operating budget for the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025. This is the first reading. Is Ms. Mills? Yes. We have Finance Director Lisa Mills.
Good evening.
Evening.
This ordinance is adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025. The city charter requires that we have a public hearing, which we opened up earlier, and then this establishes the operating budget. So the operating budget is a $77 million budget. It authorizes 495 full-time equivalent employees. There's an additional $9.6 million of debt service repayments in this budget, and it has capital outlays of an additional $23.8 million. Included in that capital outlay is $9 million of special projects, and one of the special projects that we're highlighting this evening is a $1.5 million renovation and improvement to Fire Station Number 1. The budget reflects our continued efforts to attract and retain employees and includes a 3% increase in salaries and wages across the city. With that ability to hire and retain employees, we can focus on the goals of cost recovery and control and efficient operations. This budget does definitely address that. It's with commitment and diligence that the city staff contributed to the development of this budget. And we'd like to take the opportunity to thank them. They did an awesome job this year, and we all worked well together and cohesively to come up with a good plan. The 25-26 proposed operating budget is on the city's website and available for anybody to see. And with that, I'll hand that to council.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment on this issue? No? Okay. Council, then, is there a motion to approve Bill 2565?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Council?
I'd first of all like to praise Parks and Recreation Director Doug Gannon, Police Chief Adam Glick in particular, for all of their efforts for cost savings and efficiencies that have helped in putting this budget together. I think they both did a great job with their departments, and I thought they deserved to have a little recognition.
I want to jump on that and also include Lisa and Bridget and their amazing team. Out of all the years that we've done this, Dan and the mayor and myself, you guys do a phenomenal job with this, and it's not an easy task, and you make it in a way that we all are able to digest it and make decisions and be strategic, and I appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah, I would say I got to go through my first one of these with Lisa and Bridget on Friday, and coming from the private sector, to hear her, her fiscal responsibility along with Dr. Haskins and the whole team was very refreshing to me. I think about 15 minutes into the conversation or presentation, I said, "Are we going to run this like a business and maybe try to not spend more than we bring in?" And she said, "Absolutely. Why wouldn't we do it that way?" So all of the, the energy that they put into this, again, I keep saying refreshing because it was, not knowing what you don't know, and you sit through one of these and you go, wow, this city's in a great direction, and I don't know enough people know that. So please get online and look at this budget. It's open to everybody. And if anybody in my ward wants to ask about it, send me an email, give me a call. But I'm very excited about it, and you did an awesome job.
We don't take it easy on the new folks. It's a lot to take in right after you.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, and Brian and I know each other personally, and we talked about this. The accolades can't be loud enough. Lisa's expertise, her experience in both private and public, and I'm not just, I am pointing you out, Ms. Mills, but it's once again, it goes back to that team effort. And Brian and I both are small business owners, so we know what the pain and agony that goes over creating a budget and then trying to stick to it. And not trying, but having to in this respect. I mean, mine's not this multi-million-dollar, but it's large enough for me and impacts my family. So this is the way the city should look at it as well. So one big family, one big budget, and that's how we have to go about it. So thank you all for all of your time and effort.
Absolutely. Well, putting together the city budget is actually a year-long process. In fact, I suspect maybe the finance department might take a day or two rest, but then crank back up for the next one. It's obviously all-encompassing. I just want, just a personal note, I've been on this city council for 7 years now. And I was explaining in our budget workshop last Friday that the improvement that I've seen in this budget discussion every year has been quite impressive. The attitude that Dr. Haskin and his administration have brought in has been, I think, very, very beneficial to our city, to our community, in the way that they approach the budget, how they deal with it. I will say we are required per our charter to have a balanced budget every year, but with 30 or so funds throughout the city, there's lots of ways you can, manage that. But the way this administration is managing that is it's fiscally conservative, it's extremely responsible, and I think it is setting up our government to really operate very, very well, moving well into the future. And Dr. Haskin, I was hoping you could just speak for a minute about the theme and the attitude.
Yeah, I'll just button it up real quickly. We operate based upon a conservative, priority-based budgeting system. It's a system that we've modernized over the past 2 to 3 years that I've been here, and that concept has evolved over the past 10 to 15 years. But with bringing in Lisa and now with Bridget, these folks get it. They understand exactly what the goals are and what we're trying to achieve in this city. And I couldn't be more thrilled with how far we've come in such a short period of time here.
Yeah, well, we are too. And I think, one word that you kept saying on Friday was cost recovery, and emphasizing that in every department that we see. Some of our departments that's going to be much more challenging, right? Certainly the park department, the airport, there are a lot of big expenses across those departments. But Doug, I see you back there. Your name was really highlighted a lot as being able to see how the park department has really taken that attitude to heart and is doing great work in terms of your managing the budget, and I think across the board we saw that and see that in this budget. So. Kudos to you, Dr. Haskin, and all of your department chairs for some really, it's hard work, I know, to change some things and responsibly deal with the challenges. Because as everyone knows, costs are increasing. They still are. In the past few years, just as any business or household, has recognized, a city government, our expenses have in some cases shot through the roof a little bit. And so being able to, of course, a city government, the adjusting is a little more cumbersome than perhaps even a business, a private business, or even a household can do sometimes, but you all have accomplished that. And so just thought that was worth highlighting. Any other comments then on this issue? All right then, all in favor of Bill 2565, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations to everyone there. Bill 2566, an ordinance establishing utility rates for the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by amending Chapter 29 related to sewer and water rates. This is the first reading. Ms. Mills, there she goes.
This ordinance would approve the water and sewer fee increase assumed by the proposed budget 2526. The proposed budget includes a 5% increase in the residential and the commercial water rates effective for bills issued after July 1, 2025. The rate increases allow the city to meet the rate covenants for bonds previously issued by the sewer and water funds, and it supports the operating needs of the sewer and water funds.
Great, thank you. Does anyone in the public wish to comment on this issue? All right, seeing none, then, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2566?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council? Hearing none, then, all in favor of Bill 2566, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Bill 2561, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by changing the zoning of property located at 524 North Silver Springs Road in the city and county of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, from R4 to NC. This is the first reading. Mr. Shrimplin. Any further?
So we've already heard a lot about the the request and the fact that this is a different version of the request coming back to the council. Just a little bit of background, that area was zoned C2 at one time. Property owner at the time had everything rezoned, I think other than the one in the corner there, which they kept C2. And then I think several years ago, the owner of the two lots that Mr. Sanchez acquired applied to have those rezoned from C2 to R4. So this area was very largely commercial at one point in time, and it still is, as you can see from the map. You know, I've talked about the standards for rezoning under case law, courts, things like that. The standard is whether or not the proposed zoning district is reasonable and in reasonable conformity to the existing uses and value of the immediately surrounding properties. The staff's opinion, it is. We recommended approval. It went to Planning Zoning Commission. They concurred, and they're recommending approval again.
All right, thank you. Does anyone in the audience wish to comment on this, perhaps in a different way than was expressed earlier? Yes.
I believe it was zoned R4 when Mr. Sanchez purchased the property.
Oh.
And I don't want any more businesses around where I live. There's too much violence now. And I think as a council, you should consider your police department when you just make these decisions, because it does affect the whole community of Cape Girardeau.
Thank you. Does anyone else in the audience wish to comment? Yes, sir.
I would say a lot of people are kind of afraid of changes, but the world is constantly changing, and sometimes for the good. Whenever I see the news, I don't see a whole lot of Hispanic people involved in shootings or anything like that. And I'm saying because they keep bringing the crime, and they are good people. They try to do good, and crime is everywhere. That's not in our hands. He's just trying to do something good. And the guy a while ago keeps saying about what if negative stuff, but what if it's a good stuff coming forward? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I am wife Mr. Sanchez. I listen the lady, the restaurant Mexican, no clean. Dile que como dice que el restaurante mexicano no lo limpian y
¿Quién
que hay
dice?
mucha madera, la señora.
No, no dice de los departamentos.
No, del restaurante.
She's saying that my dad's got
If you could
some,
speak into the microphone, please. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
he's got some business in that place, and then she said that he don't do maintenance. He does maintenance, and then my dad is really clean, and you can always see him mowing the yards. He's always about working. We always about working. I don't know why she's saying about we're gonna bring violence. You can check my dad's record, and he's never been a violent man. He's always been a hardworking man. And then our family has just been all about work. That's it. And then she's saying that why she only says negative things about bringing a business in there. Why she don't say good things like my property might go up higher, or why it's gotta be only negative things, So
I talking about a little the business, the restaurant. She say that the restaurant Mexican and the Silver Spring sometimes not close very late. But when we have restaurant, if we have order for other day, sometimes we no sleeping. We prepare everything and the restaurant is open. Because if we have early the order, we prepare sometimes very late stay in the restaurant because another day we have the order and we prepare everything.
Well, I think she's talking. She was talking about the restaurant close to the laundry, right? Because they got a restaurant too, but it's not there. And then she probably thought that she was talking about their restaurant, but probably not. Well, what she was trying to say that sometimes they stay late, getting all the orders ready for the next day and all that. But I mean, all I can tell you, my dad, it's all about working. It's not about crime. It's not about nothing else. It's just about working, So, I mean, I don't see how is he gonna change the community around there if he's just about working. I mean, he's just gonna make people. I mean, like they're gonna see him, and I mean, you can tell he's not gonna bring violence. He's there to work. That's it. So, I mean, that's all we got to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I just want to make it very clear from my perspective, this has nothing to do with race or the fact that they're Mexican or anything like that. I want to make that perfectly clear. Because in 2017, when I had damage to my roof, guess who put the shingles on? A group of Mexicans, and they did an excellent job. The last time I had the inside of my house painted, guess who did it? A team of Mexicans. They did an excellent job. This is not about race. It's about maintaining the integrity of a subdivision or a cul-de-sac that was meant to be for duplexes and triplexes. It was not meant to be for commercial property. And why, when we invested in that, we thought that was going to remain the same. And none of you would like for your property to be changed next to you and you suffer the consequences of it because we don't know what he's going to put in there. I just want to maintain the integrity of what is there. That I think we deserve that because we're investors and because the people who live in our duplexes, they understand when they moved in there what was there. And again, I say, we are not slumlords. We take care of our property. We take care of our tenants when they call us. I make sure my property manager's out there and takes care of the issue. And that's the important thing as far as I'm concerned. It's maintaining the integrity of what we have always had there. And that's the only reason. It's not for any other purpose, okay? I just want to make sure everybody understands that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to come? Yes, sir.
Dave Hudson might be old enough. I might be the only one in this room that remembers neighborhood grocery stores. Any of you all live in a neighborhood with a neighborhood grocery store?
I did, actually.
Yeah, growing up.
When I lived in the Red Star, I was raised in the Red Star district. We had two, one at each end of the district. If we had money, we rode our bicycles to the store. If we didn't have money, we collected empty glass bottles so we'd have money when we went to the store to buy our candy. We did not have crime problems. in our neighborhood. Businesses do not create crime problems. One very important lesson I've learned when I was an inspector for the city for 9 years, whether it's owner occupied, tenant occupied, whatever, a business, management, maintenance, and supervision. If you don't have those 3 traits at every piece of property, you're going to have problems. And moving a business in that lot is not going to create a problem if you have management, maintenance, and supervision. Put a multi-unit apartment house on that lot, it's not going to create a problem unless you don't have management, maintenance, and supervision. You could put a single-family house on that lot, and you'll have a problem if you don't have management, maintenance, and supervision. And that's the problem. That's why I stayed busy, the police department stayed busy, the fire department stayed busy the 9 years that we did our best to make sure property owners, tenants, and landlords managed, maintained, and supervised their properties properly. Because if they don't, that's where you have the problems. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'm sorry, is there anyone else who wishes to express something that has not perhaps been already shared? Okay. Council then, is there a motion to approve Bill 2561?
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Council? Mr. Cantrell?
Yes, I want to first start by, this is now, I don't know where in race came up with this. It wasn't part of the first discussion, and I think I can speak on everyone up here. It was never even, that thought didn't ever enter our mind. We're to have a tough decision. I took several Tums today because I knew this was going to be coming up again tonight. And like I told Mr. Sanchez the first time, I regretted having to tell a man what to do with this property. And so, Mr. Hill, the what ifs, that resonates. Mr. Tolliver, what you purchased when you purchased it, the bill of sale that you bought, that resonates. It's a very tough decision, I think, that the council has. And I'm still chewing over it. But it's, you know, we have to make these decisions, and it impacts someone or some bodies. And Mr. Sanchez, there's no doubt in my mind that you're a good person and that your family's a hardworking person. And so I just wanted to make sure that that was understood, that this isn't about anything but property ownership. It's not about crime. I know that that's been part of, but I mean, I think Mr. Hill made some good comments about that as well. But anyway, I just want to make sure that race and crime and those things, that's not what I'm basing the decision on, and I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, Nate. Yeah.
I was just going to thank Mr. Hill for his comments because I think he said much more succinctly and with more clarity what I said last time we took this up for consideration, which is we cannot speculate what brings crime, you know, the what ifs. It's, you know, what he just said about the management, maintenance, supervision of property, that's what's going to do it. Because, I mean, if Dwayne was going to put one of his restaurants right there, I guarantee you got one of his amazing restaurants across town, you wouldn't be complaining about it, you know, but you don't know what's going to be there. It was even mentioned that he may put a duplex, which is exactly what's there in the neighboring community. There's, you know, it's not necessarily we're dictating what's going to go there. It's just giving a property owner the ability to put something there that may improve, you know, the property value and may improve the neighborhood and may improve whatever perceived crime issue that may be there. So, and it may be better than an empty lot, and maybe better than an individual, a single family house, and maybe better than a multi-unit apartment, and maybe better. We don't know what's going to cause it, and it seems like the gentleman has a track record with his properties of being, at least keeping them clean, maintained, occupied. You know, when people are there working at a Mexican restaurant or an establishment, people people know that people are there and they're awake and they're paying attention. That's usually a deterrent to crime if we're going to speculate. So we're not voting on speculation. We're voting on the best use of this property, which the planning and zoning has done an excellent job deliberating this and considering it and advising us, and as well as staff. And I appreciate all their time and Mr. Shrimplin's time and staff for advising us on this along the way.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something. Just so many words that we heard today. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. But everybody has their own opinion and point of view. But the word that resonate was integrity. And so when you say integrity, is it Mr. Sanchez? Is that? Mr. Sanchez been living here almost 25 years. I'm not from here. I've almost been here 25 years. I would hope when I hear it, they say, Mr. Sanchez, he lives here. His family lives here. He's a businessman. He spends money in Cape. He works hard. He has one business, two business. Integrity. My family show up to support me. Integrity. And so I guess if I want to be a little personal about it, he was defending more of his character of him and his family than he was the process to, can I rezone this so I can continue to build the integrity for my family, community in the city of Cape. So the what ifs, the reason he had to continue to respond to that, because they all were negative. And that's an opinion. But if I'm going off integrity, he's a resident, he's a businessman, he has family, he has advocates, he pours back into Cape. So we have to remember, I understand maybe certain things we agree to disagree, but you never judge a person's or assuming character. You based it off the facts. The facts is it went through the process again with the city, the zoning committee, and it comes to council. And I'm in agreement that this Mr. Sanchez and his family represents integrity. Those are the things that we call the heartbeat of City of Cape. All those things that people want to come up, all our service. So I respect that. I do understand when you disagree, but we have to be careful that we give everyone the opportunity that presents itself and they go through the process to get it done. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Randall. I
Just one more
can't
thing.
say it any better than that. If I may have a moment. You know, what strikes me, I think Mr. Shrimplin was giving a little bit of the history of this whole area, and it has seen changes. It was predominantly all commercial. Did I hear that correctly? And then some property owners came and rezoned it to R4, or is that right? Sorry, can we get the map back up? Thank you, R3. Some particular properties, R3, there are some still R4, but there's a lot of commercial property around there. The plan and the vision for this area for a long, long time has been to serve as a small commercial hub for this part of town. I do appreciate Tamika mentioning the Planning and Zoning Committee. If I could, Mr. Blank, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but if you would come, what does resonate with me, very importantly, is the fact that this issue has gone to the Planning and Zoning Commission twice, and twice there has been unanimous support for this rezoning. Can I ask you to just come forward and speak to that just a bit? I'm sorry, I don't like to put people on the spot, but it seems like a what'd you say?
And I brought support.
But too bad.
I brought support with me with Chris Martin, who's also on our commission as well. So I'll be happy to address any questions or concerns.
Well, I guess my big question for the Planning Zone Commission would be, can you speak to perhaps the attitude about that unanimous support for this issue, and perhaps what the discussion was in Planning and Zoning, you know, that sees this as a good move commercially, I guess.
Sure. So as I recall, there wasn't a lot of discussion with this on the second round
Okay.
that it came through.
probably because we had seen it before and we were going from 2 lots to 1 lot with that. But it's generally the things that you guys have already brought up, the commercial around there. To Mr. Hill's point, with this being zone R4, and being, if it was zoned R2 or R3 even, perhaps I might look at it differently, because then you're looking at a duplex and a triplex, which is what's already there. But the fact that you can build 4 or 6 apartment buildings on that, to me, changes it. Also, I'll just point out myself, the family that developed this property back in here and owned quite a bit of property, I reached out to them and I said, would you have an issue with these 2 lots going commercial? They did not. They said that when they looked at this and they looked at what's going on around there, they said this area needs help. And we would not have any issues with those 2 lots. I know we're only talking about 1, but they said those 2 lots going commercial. I'll let Chris talk from his perspective as well.
Yeah, I would echo all of what Scott shared, but then also what Mr. Shrimplin shared. I think what resonated with the commission is that reasonableness standard, looking at what is already there and what the future use plan is. Adjacent to those properties is already C2, across the street is C2, in the middle of that subdivision at the end of the cul-de-sac is C2. There were some concerns that were raised during our hearing on the matter about increased traffic on Shamrock Circle and what that would do to the streets and trucks coming and going and damage. It's our understanding, based on Q&A with staff, that that's already a public street, so those trucks can already come and go. And so I think for some of us, that negated that concern. It made it a moot point. So those things, it was a different proposal the second time around, going from 2 lots to 1. He did come with a bit of a plan in terms of what the space could look like and what he envisioned for it, a little more developed. That, along with that reasonableness standard, is how I think we based our decision.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes.
So what was the plan? Because again, I was not privy to the first one, so that's my biggest thing. I've not heard really a definite plan of what he and his family want to do with this lot. So what's the plan?
The first go around, there was no plan. The second go around, what was presented to us was a commercial space, a commercial building with 4 spaces in it. And I'll speak from my perspective on that. From my perspective, commercial development is a lot more restrictive than residential, because with the codes, you have to deal with water runoff, with parking, with the issue with having a building outside a residential house. Well, you have to put up a fencing in between that with commercial. It's to me, a lot more restrictive than putting up a 4-plex or a 6-plex apartment unit in there. But what was presented to us, to answer your question, was 1 building with 4 spaces in there.
But it has to have residential on top, right? Isn't that no, not, it can, it doesn't have to, okay.
But to get to did you have to know what the actual businesses were, or just, hey, here's what it looks like?
We just
For
viewed what it looked
zoning.
like.
Okay, thank you.
That's not a requirement, but that's what was presented to us.
Yeah, there's no, is a planned development zoning the only designation that requires a specific plan, and which has to then be adhered to?
And/or special use, like.
Or-
Yeah, and that and
There's
a special
certain
use permit both have a specific plan.
Yeah.
Other than that, under standard zoning, there's no requirement. In fact, you can't lock somebody into a specific plan on a standard rezoning. That violates laws. So if it gets rezoned, any of the uses that are permitted in that zoning district can be implemented.
And certain zoning has certain allowed special uses, that would then have to be considered by us, but it would involve them coming forward with a plan.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Council, any other comments?
I just want to say one other thing, and Mr. Sanchez, if this does go your way, and anyone else, I I think an opportunity here really presents itself. There is definitely pros and cons, but you'll have your business, if it goes your way, you'll have your businesses there. But I think it's important that you understand what everyone around there, the residents, are concerned about as far as aesthetically looking. And I understand a fence does have to go out. Nobody wants to see a dumpster. But I think it sounds to me like the character of man that you are, that you will ensure that the neighbors and around that, and residents in that area are, I'm not going to say proud of, but they are relieved of what you decide to put in there if this does, in fact, go your way.
No, ma'am, this is the council discussion. Thank you. I will, though, highlight something Ms. Simmons did say earlier, because it's something that, in these kinds of issues, comes up a lot with residents who are concerned about a change coming nearby. And I think one of the biggest problems with this whole area right now is that the C2 lot, the large C2 lots just south of this neighborhood, and the R4 lots in question right now are empty. And they are, I believe it was called agricultural. They're big grassy fields right now. But next week, all of those could become apartments and large commercial spaces because of the way they're zoned. And that would not need to come to the council. That is the way they're zoned right now, and they could be built upon. And so really the question before us is simply not to whether we need to keep this as a grassy field, for the benefit of the folks who live in the cul-de-sac, but rather does the change in the zoning make sense, and is it good, beneficial to this area? So
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that. I mean, we're talking about changing from R4 to NC. We're not talking about rezoning it from R4 to C2.
Correct.
Which is the stuff all around here. Yeah. I view NC as a lesser thing compared to the C2 designations, yep, which very well, everything around there. So I really think that's a good thing for it.
Okay. Any other comments then? All right. Hearing none. All in favor then of Bill 2561, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Opposed.
All right, the motion carries. Moving on, Bill 2562, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, by changing the zoning of property located at 215 North West End Boulevard in the City and County of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, from R3 to NC. This is the first reading. Mr. Shrimplin. It's just a big zoning night here at the City Council, so thank you, Mr. Shrimplin.
Yeah. Okay, so we have another area where you've got a mix of uses and zoning districts. This particular property is on Northwest End Boulevard. It is across the street from was originally, I think, a grocery store years ago, and more recently, the Islamic Center, which is relocated. And that property across the street sold. The new owner wanted to use it. Historically, there had been apartments above and commercial on the lower level. But because the property had been vacant for so long, it was non-conforming, it lost that status. So the owner had applied to rezone that property to NC to allow the lower level to be commercial again with apartments above. So that got rezoned to NC. That's right across the street. To the north is a property that is zoned C1 and contains a business. Next to it are two lots that contain homes, but they're also zoned C1. Then to the west, to the south, you've got R3 residential zoning and residential uses. So again, you've got a mix of uses in that area, and that's where NC usually is a good candidate, because NC is considered to be a transitional district. It can transition from commercial to residential. And as Mr. Bliss, Councilman Bliss pointed out, it's lesser intense than like the C2 district. It has controls. There's limits on the square footage of the building. It has to have architectural design to it. There's a lot of constraints on the NC district to ensure that whatever use is implemented on the property doesn't adversely affect the surrounding neighborhood. So that was just like on the previous request. It's the same zoning district they're requesting here. Now, this goes hand in hand with the next request, which is for a special use permit for art school, essentially is what they'd like to use it for. This was the Christian Science Reading Room. This couple acquired the property. They felt it'd be very appropriate to have their art school there. But in the NC district, that's a special use. So they would first have to get the property rezoned to NC and then get approval of the special use permit for the art school.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to comment on this bill? All right, hearing none then. Council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2562?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Well, being that this is in Ward 3 and a property that I walk by and ride bikes by with my family quite often, it's nice to see it. It sat vacant for a while, so it'll be nice to see it develop. Frankly, speaking very frankly, I'd like to see progress across the street at that rezoned property, the Islamic Center that had the fire. So hopefully, in full disclosure, there is no relation between Elizabeth and Craig Thomas and myself at all, but I am excited. He is a great artist, and I'm excited for what's going to move in there and to see progress with that long vacant building, so.
Yep. I agree. Yep. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none then, all in favor of Bill 2562, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And then Bill 2563, an ordinance granting a special use permit to Elizabeth and Craig Thomas for the purposes of constructing, maintaining, and operating an art school and studio on the property located at 215 Northwest End Boulevard in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. This is the first reading. Mr. Shrimp, any further comment?
So you did receive in your packet some information from the applicants about the proposed art school. So initially, they had proposed to have up to 2 classes at a time with a maximum of 15 students and 1 instructor. And looking at the code, the staff had determined that that would require 8 off-street parking spaces. Currently, the property has none. So the owners thought about it, and at the public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission, stated that they're no longer planning on holding 2 classes at a time, rather 1. That cut the parking requirement in half. So the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval, subject to certain conditions, which are in your report, and one of them being having to have 4 off-street parking spaces.
Mm-hmm. Seemed very helpful. Is there anyone in the public wishing to comment? All right, seeing none. Council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2563?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Yeah, that sounded like a very creative and helpful solution to that. So thanks to everyone involved there. All in favor then of Bill 2563, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And lastly, Bill 2564, an ordinance accepting easements related to the Cape LaCroix Trail Repair Project. Mr. Pulley.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Dr. Haskin. This is an ordinance accepting a temporary construction easement and permanent trail maintenance and access easement from the owners. The easements were donated by the owners. This is the trail that we all plan to widen for walking.
Great. Anyone in the audience wishing to comment on this? All right, seeing none, then Council, is there a motion to approve Bill 2564?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor then of Bill 2564, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Pulley. We do not have any appointments or other business tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. So moved.
Thank you. There's not. They showed up early. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. No. Actually, I took, well, I took you as the